Organizations make decisions about which projects they're going to take on, and they definitely use strategic planning on the front end. Maybe the project is being taken on due to market demand, or the organization has a strategic business need, or there's an opportunity that's presented to the organization. There are a variety of reasons why organizations take projects on. I know some of the projects that I've worked on have been based on legal requirements. This has got to change, that's got to change. You've got to work with different processes, and this is, a customer request. Or, hey, we're on the bleeding edge of technology and there's been some sort of technological advancement. We need to get in there and try and beat out the competition and be first to market. So there are lots of different reasons why projects would be undertaken by an organization. But it doesn't matter what type of project at all, or what's the reason behind why the project is being taken on. All projects on the exam are assumed to be working with a project management office or a PMO. I'll bet lots of you are currently working on projects now where you have a PMO. And basically a PMO is designed to standardize organizationally different processes, tools and techniques, the sharing of resources. Potentially they help identify risks. They are involved in change management, and it really is designed based on your organizational structure, because there are 3 flavors or categories of PMOs that you could come across. The first one, supportive. It is what it sounds like. They're there to help project managers. So you could go into the PMO and say, hey, I'm looking for a better way to document this. And the PMO says, well, hey, we've got a template that you can use. We're supporting your project, but we're not controlling it at all. Controlling PMOs are basically more involved in the project management life cycle. They're going to basically say, here are the best practices that we use. Here are the templates for procurement. This is our procurement administrator. This is how they work. And they have more control over the outputs and the direction of the projects. Maybe they're the ones that are assigning the resources or determining your project priority. Directive, on the other hand, are involved from start to finish. They will literally direct the project and say, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, project manager, you're in step 1, here's what you have to do. So it really depends, again, on the organization and how it's designed. Is one better than the other? It just depends on the types of projects that you're working on. If it's a government project and there are lots of regulations, or there are quality requirements that are regulatory based on the government, then a directive PMO definitely is going to be more helpful to you, because you don't need to have a deep understanding of all of that, because they're telling you how to do it. Whereas supportive, you're more on your own. I could use this template, I could use that template, they're all there and available for me, but I don't really need somebody getting in-depth involved in the project. It's like, hey, I got this. Thanks a lot, PMO, for being there and being supportive. So just be aware that the PMO on the exam is assumed. They're not assuming a certain type. They're just assuming that this type of project on the exam involves a PMO in some way, shape, or form. What is project management? Now, when you talk about projects and you talk about project management, we all know that there's some sort of logical flow or life cycle to a project. It gets kicked off, it gets initiated, there's planning to be done, then you've got to execute the work, you've got to keep an eye on the work, and then formal closure. Well, those are the process groups, the life cycle: initiation, planning, execution, monitoring and controlling, and closing. That is the life cycle, and also how they score on the exam. Remember, 30% of the exam is based on the execution. But what does that mean exactly, and how does that tie in to what's going on in an actual project? Well, first of all, we have knowledge areas, and those knowledge areas are things like integration, scope, time, cost, quality, human resources, communication, risk, procurement, and stakeholder management. These are the different facets or pieces of a large project that tie together with the life cycle. Do they all need a plan? Absolutely. Are some things going to be executed and checked for quality and checked for risk and all of that? Absolutely. So the 10 knowledge areas across the life cycle or process groups is what we're learning in order to give you the information you need to know in order to take and pass the exam.